what's up everyone? So I have acute gastric pain right now, so I can't be here with you right now in drama class. So I'm just here to basically explain 3 characters today. So one will be Zephyrine, Teddy, and the Dean. So let's get started on Zephyrine. She's a part of the main cast of the story. So she's the so-called delinquent, misfit kind of person. She was in a gang. Oh, she is in a gang actually. And she meets someone called Belle, who became her very close friend. But after that, you know, after being in a gang for a while, Belle encourages Zephyrine to pursue her passion in acting and encourages her to join Zenith Artyom. Unfortunately, Belle committed suicide, so that left Zephyrine to feel very traumatized, and eventually she is suffering from depression. She tries to leave the gang, but John, who is the gang leader, won't allow her to do so. So that's kind of like her backstory. Now moving on to her personality and behaviorisms. Zephyrine, or Zephy, or Zeph, whichever way you want to call her, she is brave, and to a certain extent she's pretty righteous. She's usually the one who will stick up for those who are more timid and less confrontational. For example, she stands up for Ling Hui and Ethan. So even though she's in a gang, don't be mistaken, she is fluent and articulate at English. She also throws around the occasional witty and sarcastic and sassy remarks. And yeah, so she also has she's aloof and she has a cold exterior, so she tends to give kind of like one-liner statements when she's having a normal conversation. So this is shown especially like when she's interacting with Darian, especially at first. So she'll just give one-liners, be like, okay. So cold and curt is also her personality. Then some of the main moments that Zephyrine faces in this play is basically that number 1, she's trying to leave the gang. So that causes a huge stir up between her gang and herself. So this whole play she's trying to leave the gang, and then there's this whole resistance from John, and there's like this huge stir up like at the end of Act 1, which causes her to try and commit suicide by taking too many antidepressants. But don't worry, she survives in the end, and she has this revelation to move on from her twisted past. So moving on from Zephyrine, we have our other main character, which I'll be introducing to you today, and he is Teddy. So simple backstory, basically as a kid he was always really talented at performing arts, but over time when the dean started to neglect Teddy's mom and himself, Teddy's mom left him and the family. So Teddy started to have all this built up anger and tension towards his father that they never really address until eventually later in the play. You'll see that Teddy and the dean try and lash it out on each other and all that kind of stuff. So that's basically the main crux of his backstory. So moving on to Teddy's behaviorisms and personality. So basically he's kind of like a mix between an angsty, rebellious emo kid and a preppy kid, because you know, while he has that rude, arrogant, condescending, airy slight of maybe British American, not Singaporean-ish kind of accent, he also has kind of like that backstory that I told you about just now, and he has a lot of angst inside of him, some unaddressed emotions that has yet to really be revealed. So Teddy is definitely not like a surface kind of character. He has a lot more, and he can be a lot more emotional than you think. he thinks that everyone is below him. So he kind of tends to bully those who don't know their place or is like rude to him or, you know, tries to criticize him for what he's doing. So people like Ethan, he'll tend to bully him a lot in the play. And he also, you know, he talks back to teachers as well. So you know that this boy has no respect for authorities, especially his father. He also tends to show hate for the performing arts because, again, angsty backstory. And he thinks that, you know, all this that he's doing right now in school that he's being forced to go to is a total waste of his time. His rebelliousness kind of is pretty much consistent throughout the whole play. He's the more antagonistic character that's, you know, not afraid to be rude or to be disrespectful to anyone that crosses him. That's essentially Teddy throughout the whole play, but he does have a key moment with Andrew. Towards the end of Act 2, Scene 7, I believe, he and Andrew kind of talk, but it's mostly Andrew doing the talking and persuading. Eventually, he makes Teddy work hard for the production, but it is vague and ambiguous as to whether Teddy is kind of receptive of it. And because the thing is, right, we made it so that Teddy never admitted to any of his mistakes and didn't say anything about changing, so it's kind of like at that moment in time showing a bit of resistance. Okay, moving on to the dean. So basically, backstory quick, he's a principal of Zen of Artium as well as Teddy's father. He loves the arts, and by that I mean he's devoted his life to the arts. But he was too immersed into that, so as a result he neglected his family, his wife left him. And yeah, Teddy hates him for it. So his personality and behaviors. So you see, the most interesting part about the dean is that he actually plays two roles. So for example, he is the, you know, the principal who runs the school, but he's also a father to a rebellious, arrogant boy. There's, you know, that professional side to him that is reliable, calm, and stable, like the pillar of the school. But he's also, there's that private side to him, and like when he's confronting his son, he can be emotional and can be viewed as a flawed human being. So like his key moments is mostly like at the start where he's addressing the budget cuts to the school, and the main conflict between him and Teddy is also very important to address. So yeah, he faces a long time conflict with his son, and he tries to discipline him, but it doesn't work. So at one point he does manage to somehow straighten Teddy out, but it's in a very aggressive manner, and it's not effective because Teddy is still kind of angry about it, and he needed that moment with Andrew to kind of be like, okay, I need to work hard. So yeah, by the way, spoiler alert, the dean does slap Teddy, so